I have a confession to make. I've realized over this last week that the majority of the videos that I make for this channel are me talking to me. You see, I've spent my whole life with negative self-talk and a really, really strong inner critic. And if that's you and you can relate to that, well, I know how you feel. So in this video, I'm going to talk through some of the things that I've learned and I'm applying and the difference that it's made with respect to tackling self-talk and self-critic. You see, I don't have all the answers. Nobody really does. And I started this channel as a kind of therapy, which was me sharing my experiences, sharing my learnings in what's been easily the most challenging 18 months of my whole life. And I have learned a lot, and I know that my mindset has shifted as a result. But it's understanding that what you say to yourself is absolutely essential. In many respects, the conversation with yourself is the most important conversation you'll ever have. And it shapes so many areas of your life. But here's what I've learned in doing a spot of research for this video is the first thing is, well, your negative self-talk is just your old recycled fears and past experiences being repeated back to you by your subconscious. It's effectively there reminding you of where you've come from and what's happened in the past. To some extent, your subconscious is trying to protect you from making mistakes and pain and discomfort in the future. But in doing so, it just keeps that negative experience in your mind, reminding you that, you know, this happened back then, better not get too close to making it happen once more. The next insight was that you can't just think positive to take away this negative self-thought. You've got to begin to challenge it. You've got to begin to undermine your negative self-talk, to begin to make any kind of progress towards a more positive inner monologue. And the last insight, and it was quite something, and it's something I really do believe, is even people who teach this stuff, teach this mindset stuff, like me, I've learned an awful lot over this last 3 or 4 years, in fact, my whole life. Even we struggle with a negative self-critic, with challenging, negative, sometimes depressing self-talk. And it's not necessarily what happens here, it's how you tackle it. And I'm going to give you some strategies to help you begin to really, really start to undermine and chip away at this negative self-talk and this negative inner dialogue. See, I used to believe that, you know, your self-talk was all about being your own cheerleader. You know, go you, yeah, you can do it, you got this. But actually, it's as much about being kind to yourself and having some self-compassion, especially when things don't go the way you would like them to, or you, as in my case, mess things up again. Now, I want to share a personal experience that's happened to me in this last week, and it's another reason why I'm making this video. I spoke with my ex-wife. We separated 3 years ago. She's the mother of our daughters, and we are so good, because we know each other so well, we are so good at triggering each other, and sadly the conversation didn't end terribly well. And then she sent me a text saying, "Looks to me like you haven't changed at all." And that got my negative self-thought going in the direction of, maybe she's right. Maybe despite all of this learning, maybe despite this YouTube channel, all this reading you've done, all this research that you've done, and all of this stuff that you've been working on in the background to improve your mindset, maybe it just hasn't worked. Maybe you are, you know, just the same. And then my next thought was, hang on a minute. I know I'm a different person. She really hasn't spent any time with me in the last 3 years. I know I'm a different person. I know I've moved on. I know that I am different. She may not get to see it because sadly, because of the way we trigger one another, she only gets to see the worst and the reactions. But I know that I'm better. I know that my mindset has improved. Now, what I've done with that is I've not said, no, she's wrong. I've just talked to myself and said, no, I know that I'm better than this. I know. I do not believe for one moment that all this stuff that I've done has been a waste and nothing has happened and nothing has improved. I know it has. And what I've done is I've challenged that negative thought, that negative self-talk that says, you know, what if I'm just as bad as I used to be? I've challenged it. I've not contradicted it. I've simply said, no, I'm not having that. I know that things have changed. Now, I may not necessarily know how they've changed, but I know that they have changed, and I believe that they have changed for the better. So Next time something comes up, can you do something similar? Can you say, no, hang on a minute, that ain't right. That is just not right. Because that's all I've done here. I've looked at my negative self-talk, thought, you know what? Nah, I'm not having this. That isn't right. So can you do something similar? Now, don't get me wrong, this hasn't been easy in this last week. It's really been a struggle to get my brain thinking in a much better way. It's, you know, it was quite an emotional strain on me. And it took me at least 24 hours to begin to question my negative self-talk. It didn't happen just like that. I wish it did. And it took me another 24 hours for my whole system to begin to calm down. So it's, you know, sometimes it can be instant results, sometimes it's not. And you just have to accept that the more you start to undermine this negative self-talk, the faster it starts to come about, the easier it gets, but it's not always comfortable and it's certainly not always easy. So I would encourage you, next time something crops up with your negative self-talk, you're throwing doubts at yourself, you're talking yourself down, challenge it, undermine it. Just say to yourself, now hang on a minute, who voted on that? Who said that that was the case? I'm not sure I believe that. And just give it a whirl. I'm just going to keep doing this and keep doing this. And I've been doing it for some time, and this is one instance this last week where this came up and I applied what I have learned in the past, and it's actually made a difference. Didn't happen instantly, but it certainly happened. So I would encourage you, you know, if you've got something coming up or your negative self-talk, your inner dialogue is giving you a hard time, begin to talk back to it. Begin to challenge it. Begin to say, hang on a minute, I didn't vote for that. Or, you know what, I don't believe that that's the case. Begin to do this. And if you want to ask questions, please write in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. And just share one challenge that you've had and how you began to deal with it. But that's it. I really hope I've been of some help here. It's been a difficult week for me. I've really had to work hard at challenging my own self-talk, and I'm here to help. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already on board. It'd be great to have you. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.